Episode 154, The Early Bird, the Night Owl, and the Constantly Exhausted Pigeon.
You're listening to the very best podcast in the world on health, wealth, and happiness. Please remember to leave a review and share with all your friends and family. And here is your host, Lars Hilser.
What's up, pussycats? It's almost the weekend. so lots of stuff to look forward to with this week's exercise, which is about skills. But today, on Thursday, we got one day left, and we're going to talk about 3 birds. I don't know, is an owl even a bird? Anyhow, welcome to the very best podcast in the world. Your only source in the universe for personal supremacy through health, wealth, and happiness. Now, when we talk about birds, or these birds, there's a point to it. And I was criticized. I'm a bit snuffy in the nose, sorry. If you can forgive me. I was criticized because I supposedly was rather hypocritical about going to bed and, waking up early and getting shit done. And I wasn't. Fuck you to the critics, because if you would have paid attention, I qualified every single time that this issue of getting up early in the morning and getting shit done was raised. I qualified it and said, if you are not that type of person to get up early in the morning, fuck it. Work around it. You know, if your night is shorter because you're a night owl, good for you. Take a nap in the afternoon or, whatever, just to get your needed amount of sleep, because that as well is highly individual and controversial, right? You read in pretty much every textbook on medicine that the human body, mind, and soul need an average of about 8 hours, like an adult. Kids need more. And this, for me, has always been, a paradoxon, because even as a kid, I couldn't be bothered to go to bed early. Like every kid, I would negotiate with my parents. Hey, Mom, I'm not tired yet. And my mom was like, yeah, you don't know. And I was like, yeah, I do. And so on more than one occasion, I would, watch television and stay up late and then, get brought to bed, wouldn't sleep, but, read a book or whatever. And interesting things started to develop and manifest. Came school, and I would go to school. Because you have to, right? And I was fucking tired. I couldn't be bothered to get out of bed in the morning. I was like a brick of lead. I couldn't be fucking bothered to get out of bed, even as a child, as a teenager, whatever. And interesting things started to happen. Came the afternoon. It was noontime. Very seldomly in elementary school did we have class after lunchtime, but it happened, and I excelled in those classes. So that was like, looking back, my first indicator that I was a night owl. Now, came the teenage years, came school in the United States, where the same phenomenon developed, where we had, as opposed to Germany, where, class ended at about lunchtime or after that, in elementary school at least, we had all day, school lasting all day. And the same fucking phenomenon happened there. I couldn't be bothered to get up out of bed. The morning was a fucking drag, didn't get anything into my head, despite, not to mention getting anything done, before noon. And then came noon, and all of a sudden it was like, whoa, fuck, sunshine. There we go. Let's go kick the day in the ass. And this, carries on for me until today. Now you can already predict what kind of problems this brings with it. If you're the guy on the highway driving in the wrong direction and assuming that it's all the other people driving in the wrong direction. While, yeah, sure, I get the point, but technology is such a wonderful thing that, even when I started work, I would always work late. And, of course, nobody was in the office anymore, at 6, 7, 8 p.m. in the evening, right? So I discovered email. And, I was rather tech savvy, and so I would send people emails. The beautiful thing about that was, beside the fact that you could just, reach out to the people independent of space and time, was that you didn't have to necessarily anticipate a call at 8 in the morning because nobody fucking was expecting you in the office at that time anyhow. So I kind of did a little bit of education in educating my coworkers and colleagues to not bother to call me, especially not in the morning. And this kind of, went through and resulted for me in being this kind of, I don't know, different person. And that's the point, right? There are enough people in the world that are the early bird. And it takes a lot of discipline. And if you're productive in the morning, hey, good for you. Totally get it. Respect it, and kudos. It's nothing for me. And the result of being pushed into this pattern, though, right? Now we had the night owl, that was me, the early bird, the complete contrary. And now we're getting to the constantly exhausted pigeon. Right. And that's kind of like the people that are night owls, but they get pushed into a life during the day because of their job, because of kids, because of, whatever the fuck it is. Right. But it's those people who have trouble or are most productive at night, but have to get up in the morning because their job tells them to. Right. And that is fucking torture. These poor, constantly exhausted pigeons are, I don't know if Gitmo is that bad, seriously. Because you get up in the morning, I was in this hamster wheel for quite a couple of years during my vocational training, during my school years. And it was fucking torture. Against my naturel, I would be kicked out of bed in the morning by an alarm clock. I had tons of alarm clocks because I would overhear them after 2 weeks. Even today, if I have to get up for some reason, I need to change my alarm tone on my alarm sound on my cell phone pretty much every 2 weeks because I will definitely oversleep it. And long story short, we've got these 3 types of birds, and the initial thought behind this episode was critique that I got for repeatedly mentioning the improvement of productivity of getting up early in the morning. And to those who criticized me for that, it was honestly, I think in every context, in every episode that I mentioned this, I went ahead and said, yeah, it's good for a lot of people to practice self-discipline and so on and so forth, but it's not for everybody, and particularly not for me. So in that sense, I hope I was able to clarify. Again, if you know someone that is an early bird, a night owl, or, that poor, constantly exhausted pigeon, share this episode with them. Because they might learn and understand more about their naturel. If you haven't subscribed to the podcast, please do so now. Visit theverybestpodcastintheworld.com. And on there, pretty much on every episode, there's a link to this podcast with your every favorite subscription service, podcast service that is out there. In that sense, I hope we got the flock together and in unison, and hope you have a successful Thursday. And if you've already finished your Thursday, then have a good night. Leave your hands above the blanket. Peace out, and we'll be in touch tomorrow, where we're going to talk about disappearing and learning skills. See you soon.